Okay, so we're going deep on Phandelver today. It's politics, and we've got these notes from a character, a guy named Tarek. And wow, his story is something else.
Yeah, he was mixed up with the Red Brands, it seems like, about a year ago.
Yeah, but then had to skip town pretty quick when things went south.
Right, and these notes are basically him trying to get back up to speed on what he missed.
Yeah.
It's like almost a strategic assessment,
Right, like he's trying to figure out, okay, where do I stand? Who can I trust?
Exactly, it's giving very spy returns from the cold vibe.
Totally. And to understand where things are now, we got to rewind a bit, right?
Right.
And Tarek's notes, they start by painting this picture of the Red Brands that's, well, it's a little more complicated than you might think. It's not just a bunch of thugs. I mean, they started as legitimate security, hired by the town,
Right.
keep things in order.
Right.
They even protected Phandelver from monsters.
It's almost Shakespearean when you think about it. The protectors become the problem.
Right.
And it makes you wonder, what was the turning point?
Yeah, and Tarek actually points to, inconsistent pay from the town. That was the catalyst for them sort of going, shall we say, rogue.
Yeah, entrepreneurial.
Entrepreneurial, right.
Basically just shaking down businesses for protection money.
Yeah, it sounds like even Rolf, the Red Brand captain, he wasn't totally happy with the situation.
Right.
But he saw it as, this necessary evil to keep everything afloat.
To survive, yeah.
And what's so interesting is, Tarek himself was actually part of the Red Brands, but more on the, logistical side of things.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, he wasn't the muscle,
Right, so like a cog in the machine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that makes his notes even more valuable because, well, he had this unique vantage point.
Yeah.
And he seems to have been, privy to these tense negotiations, right?
Oh, between
the Red Brands, the townmaster, and then this prominent merchant, Halia Thornton.
Oh, Halia Thornton. She's a big player.
Oh, yeah. She comes across as a real power player.
Yeah.
In these notes.
Yeah.
She was trying to broker a deal, right, to formalize the Red Brands as a proper town guard, funded by taxes instead of those, protection fees.
Legitimate.
Makes
you wonder what her end game is, though.
Right.
Is she really altruistic, wanting a safer Phandelver, or is this about her consolidating her power?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It seems like Tarek was he was the go-between, can you believe this, in these dealings.
Wow.
Relaying messages between Halia, Rolf, and the townmaster.
Oh my gosh, he was in the thick of it.
But then things went completely sideways.
Yeah.
Because this Red Brand wizard, Glassstaff, decided he liked things just the way they were.
Oh.
He led this rebellion against Rolf.
Whoa.
And basically took control.
So then you've got Rolf, who, despite his flaws, seems like he genuinely cares about, the town's safety.
Yeah.
And then you have Glassstaff, who's embodying that classic power corrupts archetype.
Absolutely.
Happy to exploit the town for his own gain.
Yeah, and poor Tarek is stuck right in the middle.
Oh, no.
Of this whole power struggle. He had to flee Phandelver because it was just chaos.
Right.
So you can imagine his return. It's a mix of nerves and curiosity. He wants to see his aunt, sure, but he also needs to figure out, okay, who won this whole thing?
Yeah.
Was it Rolf and some semblance of order, or Glassstaff, and we're back to the, bandit routine?
Right. It's this huge tension. He's walking back into, a situation that's even more volatile than where he left.
Absolutely.
These notes aren't just a history lesson. They're like a survival guide.
Exactly. And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not just uncovering the past. We're watching someone trying to navigate the present with the weight of that past on their shoulders.
It's so true.
Yeah.
He's walking a tightrope,
Yeah.
One wrong step and it all comes crashing down.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let's talk strategy here. What are Tarek's options?
Okay, well, based on his notes, it seems like he's got a couple potential allies, at least people he can maybe try to leverage.
Right.
Halia Thornton comes to mind immediately.
Oh, yeah, Halia.
She was definitely trying to bring some order to the chaos, and Tarek, he did play a role in that.
Even if it was a small one.
Yeah. But remember, Halia's motives, there's still a bit of a mystery.
Right.
I mean, she's a sharp businesswoman. Any alliance with her is going to come with strings attached.
Oh, absolutely.
The question is, what's the price of her support?
Yeah.
What's her ultimate goal in all this?
I mean, maybe Tarek can use what he knows about the Red Brands to gain some leverage with her.
That's true.
He knows their weaknesses, their internal conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of information, that's valuable, especially to someone like Halia, who's obviously playing the long game.
It's risky, though.
Oh, for sure.
Getting caught playing both sides, I mean, he could make an enemy out of everyone. Yeah, you're right. And then there's Rolf.
Rolf.
Could Tarek appeal to, his sense of duty?
Mm-hmm.
Try to persuade him to take back control, steer the Red Brands back towards a more legitimate path.
It's possible.
Maybe.
But Rolf seems caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
He lost control once. And Glassstaff, I don't think he's the forgiving type.
No.
Reaching out to Rolf, it could put Tarek directly in Glassstaff's crosshairs.
Yeah, that's a big gamble.
Huge gamble. But what if Tarek just goes completely off the board?
What do you mean?
What if he uses what he knows, not to side with anyone, but to expose the whole rotten system?
Whoa. Now that's an interesting thought.
Right.
He could leak information about the Red Brands' crimes, their dealings with Glassstaff, maybe even implicate some of those town officials who've been turning a blind eye.
Yeah.
I mean, it's risky,
Of course.
but it could really shake things up.
Absolutely. Force some real change.
Yeah.
It'd be like detonating a bomb right in the middle of the town square. It would create chaos. But sometimes you need a little destruction, right? To rebuild something better.
True. Of course, there's always the option of just laying low, staying out of the fight completely. But come on, we both know Tarek isn't wired that way.
No.
His notes, they suggest he wants to make a difference.
Yeah.
Wants to right some of the wrongs that he was part of.
Right. He's not going to sit on the sidelines while his town falls apart.
Exactly.
Mm.
And that brings us to what I find most intriguing about this whole thing. What if Tarek decides the only way to truly fix things is to take control himself?
Right.
Wait. You're saying he should try to become the new leader of the Red Brands?
Think about it.
Okay.
He knows how they operate, their strengths, their weaknesses.
Yeah.
What if he uses that knowledge to reshape them from the inside, turn them back into what they were originally supposed to be? A force for good.
It's a long shot.
Definitely.
It would take, a lot of cunning, strategy, and luck.
A lot of luck.
But, I mean, it's not impossible. It would be one heck of a redemption story.
The villain turned hero, rising from the ashes of a corrupt system.
That's almost poetic, isn't it?
Yeah,
The man who helped build the machine becomes the one to dismantle it and rebuild it.
it is. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
Right.
Tarek's got some really tough choices ahead of him.
Absolutely. And that's where we'll leave you, dear listener, with a question. What path do you think Tarek should take?
Should he forge an alliance? Expose the truth. Try to seize control.
The fate of Phandelver might very well rest on his decision.
Yeah, it really is like a choose-your-own-adventure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except the stakes are, well, pretty darn high.
Yeah, they are.
And it makes you wonder, what does Tarek really want out of all this?
Right.
Is this all about survival? Or is there something more driving him?
That's the real question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, these notes, they do hint at a sense of, disillusionment almost.
Oh, interesting. Like regret. He saw what the Red Brands became, from protectors to predators, and he was a part of it.
Right.
So maybe this return, it's his chance to kind of make amends.
A redemption arc.
Yeah.
I love it. But even if that is his goal, he's walking into a hornet's nest, right?
Oh, yeah.
Phandelver sounds like it's on the verge of just falling apart.
Yeah.
How does he even begin to fix things?
Oh. Well, if we look back at his notes, there's this recurring theme. Knowledge is power.
Mm.
He's so meticulous about documenting everything.
Yeah.
Names, dates, deals. It's like he understands that information itself can be a weapon.
So it's not just about brute force.
No.
It's about strategy,
Strategy.
leverage,
Yeah.
playing the game smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm starting to see why you suggested he might try to, to take control. He's already got this head start, right?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of what he knows.
Absolutely.
So what if, and just to hear me out here, what if, instead of siding with Halia or trying to reason with Rolf, Tarek uses what he knows to kind of sow discord within the Red Brands.
Interesting.
He could leak information, expose secrets, play Glassstaff against Rolf, weaken them from the inside.
Divide and conquer.
Classic.
It's classic, but it works.
But wouldn't that just create more chaos? I mean, Phandelver is already, it sounds like a powder keg.
That's true, but sometimes you need a little controlled demolition.
Okay.
Right.
I see where you're going with this.
To make way for something better. If the red brands implode under the weight of their own, corruption, it creates a vacuum.
Right.
And Tarek, with everything he knows, with his experience, he could be in the perfect position to fill that void.
Okay, I'm seeing the vision here.
Yeah.
He dismantles the system, gains the trust of the townsfolk, and then rebuilds the red brands.
Yeah.
But this time as a legitimate force, right?
Yeah.
Accountable to the people they're supposed to be protecting. It's ambitious.
It is.
Bordering on crazy, but
Yeah.
I gotta say I kind of love it.
It really speaks to that bigger question we were talking about, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What does Tarek really want? Maybe it's not just survival. Maybe it's about leaving Phandelver better than he found it. A legacy, not just a life.
That's a really powerful thought.
It is.
And it reminds us that, well, even in a world of magic and monsters, sometimes real change comes from ordinary people making, well, pretty extraordinary choices.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this.
Okay.
What if Tarek's story isn't just about Phandelver? What if it's a reflection of the choices we all face? When we see injustice or corruption or just a broken system. Do we play it safe? Do we look the other way?
Right.
Or do we try to make a difference? Even if it means taking risks, challenging the status quo, maybe even, getting our hands a little dirty.
Yeah.
Tarek's journey, it's still unfolding. But the questions his story raises, they're universal, and the answers, well, those are up to each of us to discover.